Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the uh, Mid-South Wrestling Review Series for the 19th of June, 1982. And we are fast approaching I guess I would say, a bigger version of the biggest thing in 1982 to strike Mid-South, I would think, is the next week's show. But we'll get there. We're going to get through here first. Um, lots of good stuff on this show too, but probably next week, probably the biggest show of the year so far. And having watched all the way up to November, I'd even say the biggest show of the year, period, unless there's something that happens in November or December that's big on TV. Um, Basically, we move to Mike Bond and Dr. Death. Steve William would not want to be Mike Bond in this situation. Bond, obviously, a guy who, is there to put Williams over. Williams manages to get out of a go behind relatively quickly, takes Bond to the top rope or second rope, lets him stand there. Bond steps down rather gingerly as if he knows that he's about to get into trouble, but does so anyway. Anyway, leg pick by Dr. Death. Barely can stand Ken, his opponent, and Dr. Death manages to, get some arm drags where he almost goes in deep like a judo throw. Dr. Death doesn't waste any motion, and for a guy who is in, I believe, his rookie year, if not, certainly his first major territory, looks amazing here in 1982. Irake gives his opponent just a little bit of an advantage for about 2 seconds. Crossbody gets a referee out of position 2 count, but even Doc just kicks him away like he's nothing. And suffice to say, that is not a good look if you are Mike Bond. Irish whip attempted and reversed, and Dr. Death continues to go hard, go heavy, and he's kind of one of those go hard or go home type guys anyway. Big back body drop, and big throw, almost like a hip toss, only a Beal, and then chop blocks onto the knee of his opponent, several of them actually, and then we see Doc with a kind of power slam, almost like Junkyard Dogs, just a different format. And 1, 2, 3, and away we go. Then we see Ted DiBiase and Billy Starr. Of course, this is the week before DiBiase's big match, the rematch that he is supposed to have with Bob Roop. That is a major deal. And before that match, though, he addresses comments with Roop. He says if he doesn't win, if he doesn't beat Roop, no matter what happens, unless he's walking out of there the champion, next week he will leave Mid-South forever. And those are big terms, and I can imagine as a fan at the time who was buying wrestling as maybe somewhat real, maybe the championship matches were real or something. That's a big deal. Anyway, Billy Starr and Ted DiBiase is here, and basic match to say the very least. Kind of attempted mat wrestling by DiBiase. Obviously, comes out ahead on that. Starr has continued to be a good enhancement talent. Would love to know more about his work there. Big leapfrog and a drop kick right under the chin by DiBiase into the deep arm drag, releases, and Starr heads out to the ground in a hurry. DiBiase looks to be in peak condition, both mentally and physically, for this particular contest and going into his major match next week. We then see him bring Starr out of the corner, big back body drop. Doesn't get as much height as some, but not as abysmal as others I've seen here in the Mid-South area when it comes to back body drops, and a big power slam, and DiBiase gets a victory. I don't know where he switched from the figure 4 to the power slam, but he certainly did, and that's interesting to me that the switch is made, and it really was never, I don't know, fully addressed. Anyway, Killer Khan and King Cobra. Killer Khan brought in a couple of weeks back by Skandar Akbar, and Akbar is with Killer Khan here this week again. Khan coming off the 1982, 81, 82 era Andre the Giant angle, where he supposedly broke Andre's ankle. Of course, Andre actually, I believe, fell out of bed or something like that there. But anyway, that's a pretty big deal. Khan, really basic stuff, literally face rakes, punches, kicks, chokes, chops, nothing terribly major from Killer Khan. Of course, he never really did. He was more of a brawler and brute force kind of guy, even during his 1987 WWF run. Um, and so that's kind of there. Some hard shots there, and then he does go to an armbar. Odd to see a guy from, I don't know, overseas somewhere. Mongolia? No, he wasn't a Mongolian stopper, so I don't really know where he's from. But somewhere in Asia, use a basic armbar. Just didn't fit with the offense really. Big backbreaker though does fit with his offensive style. Kick to the back and actually stays on it for a little bit. Several shots to the back actually. And then we see Killer Khan managed to choke his man out over the middle rope and choke him out over the bottom rope as well. Tries to go as far as he can with those choke holds. Doesn't get all he wants, but gets enough. Anyway, manages to hit the bombs away knee, and a victory for Killer Khan is in the future there. And then we move to the next match. The next match, Junkyard Dog and the Grappler. Decent match. They've actually wrestled before, I'm pretty sure. Grappler, of course, Len Denton, a big guy in the area, teaming up with the Assassin for a while. The Grapplers, plural, eventually become a tag team in this area as well, I'm pretty sure. I know they become a tag team in various other places, but it wouldn't make sense for them not to here. Anyway, Junkyard Dog has made his intentions for the North American Championship known. That's important leading into next week, but he actually is wearing the Louisiana Championship backwards as he goes into this match. Kind of a comedy spot there. Probably done that before, and I never noticed, but I did notice when I was making notes for this particular matchup. Anyway, basic stuff: headlocks by the Grappler, power by the Dog. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. Kind of runs through it, and we get some really basic stuff. Irish whip off, and again we go. Dog off and up and over, and a big body slam attempted, but shift to the weight, and the Dog ends up ahead, comes out with a running tackle, and needless to say, the Dog is unimpressed with his opponent. Grappler heads to the outside in a hurry, tries to get some regroup time, doesn't get all he wants out of it. He comes back in to face the Dog. The Dog is non-disposed and non-intimidated by everything that's going on in his neck of the woods here. Sends the man off, gets the shoulder tackle, and the Grappler up and over he goes. And again, there is some shots by the Dog. Dog manages to hit some roll-throughs, and again, there we go. Irish whip attempted, and kick by the Dog right under and hits him with a hard right hand. And Dog kind of a bit more brawling in this particular match than others. Not to say that he never brawls, but it's just there as a little bit different in style technique. Dog with a big kick out at about 2.5. Slow down of the match, and the attempted and successful vertical suplex by the Grappler. Grappler grabs his head almost as if he's surprised and uncomfortable from the reverberation of the ring after the bump. And again, second week in a row, or at least second time I can recall, Russian leg sweep by the Junkyard Dog. Referee goes to the outside, gets kicked to the outside here by the feet of the Grappler on a back suplex takeover. I actually like that ref spot where it actually looks like the ref gets clobbered at an appropriate time. Anyway, It's there and run in by the assassin. Obviously, the assassin has been the tag partner of the grappler, so why wouldn't he run in to try and alleviate stress from his friend and compadre? Anyhow, continuation. The grappler comes back in. He's brawling with the dog. Dog hits a thump body slam, power slam maneuver, but there is no referee. Referee comes back in, finally tries to make a finish out of it. It's chaotic as all heck, and we see a run in, and the dog is not successful, or is successful there, but Roop tries to interfere, among others, and Junkyard Dog manages to come in okay, and Ted DiBiase comes in to try and help the dog as well. Um, and then we see Hangman Harris against Jesse Barr. Very basic match there. They are trying to build Harris up for something. I'm assuming it's Mike Sharp, although we don't really 100% know that. And again, Harris managed by Skandar Akbar. Akbar managing about 27 people, it seems, on this roster. Anyhow, Harris manages some kicks, punches, and really basic stuff, doing the Texas Longhorn cowboy type thing. Kicks him off and doesn't seem that impressed with his adversary or anything like it. Anyway, snaps him over, very basic, and then kind of gets some ride time there. Um, pulls him into some level of alignment and a big hip toss out of the corner by Barr. I think at this point you got to start giving Barr at least some cursory wins. Head scissors takeover, doesn't get what he wants fully on it, but gets enough to get the momentum until his opponent manages to catch him with an elbow to the top of the head and an Irish whip. Irish whip by Harris manages to catch him almost in a powerbomb type position, but falls back. Harris does into a stun gun like maneuver across the top rope. That is a good place to be, and a spinning neck breaker is the next in the line of things. Sorry about that. Spinning neck breaker 1, 2, 3. Harris gets a victory there. And we move to the next in the series of matches, which let's see. That is post the match. Jesse Barr, kind of looking like he is in a second match on the same program. Sometimes I don't know what the deal is there. Randy Bass and Jesse Barr. So I guess they are giving Barr a chance to win a match here. I can't imagine Bass taking over. Hip toss and then into an arm drag, into an arm bar. Jesse Barr, no pun intended, with all the bars named around here, arm bar and the like. Anyway, Jesse Barr cranking on the arm pretty aggressively here. Manages to do so for the next several minutes. A definite advantage for him, and also Jesse Barr actually does get a victory here. I think his first one on television for the Mid-South promotion. And, even if you have an enhancement talent, you want them to get victories. You want them to at least look like they could be competitive on any given night. Otherwise, you've kind of given away your business. One Man Gang and the Assassin don't get the match they want to close the program. Instead, we get a cluster brawl, for lack of a better term, with the opponents that are not opponents. End up being the Junkyard Dog running in on that and closing things out. The biggest thing of the year is next week's Mid-South program, and hopefully you'll join us for that. We'll be back with more right after this.